Okay, so welcome everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Cathy Smith. I'm the attraction maven at CATCO Enterprises, and we're a digital marketing business. So your marketing should make you money, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't. So what we're going to talk today is about Facebook. So let's get right into it. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. Okay, so tips for Facebook in 2021. Okay, so there's 1.85 billion people log into Facebook daily. So people that's saying Facebook no longer works, well, that's an awful lot of people. So if you just get a small percentage of those, you'll be doing well. So Facebook is still the most popular social network, even though people are saying that it has dropped considerably, which it has. But there's ways and means of making it work. And if you're concentrating on your audience and not everybody, it can be very, very lucrative for you. Okay, so a lot of people have said don't worry about business pages. Now, we'll talk about that as we go along, but you definitely do need a business page for your business. And the main reason for that is that you can get analytics and you can see where things are happening. Now, they are changing the way they're doing that, but you still will be able to get them through your creator suite, which is inside your business page. But when you're doing sharing, your personal profile is where you need to share from, especially into groups. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. So if your personal profile is not fit for the public, you either need to get a second one or you need to clean it up a bit, because it is the face of your business and it is the face of you. Okay, so thinking about who you're actually going to target. So speaking to everybody is speaking to nobody. So you really need to look at your audience and see who is the best for you. So what their age is, what their location is, and all of those kinds of things. So even if you think about Facebook, Facebook didn't start off with world domination. It started off with one university in one place in America. And then it was a few universities, and then it went to world domination. So if you think that you can talk to everybody, unless you've got the budget of Facebook, you're probably wasting your time. Okay, so what's the best way to get your audience and keep them interested? So this is a really cute little cat on a computer, but will it work for everybody's business? No. Yes, you'll get some likes, you might even get it to go viral, but unless you're a vet or maybe a computer technician, it's not really going to help grow your business. So you need to think about what works best for your business, your personal business. So the problem with following everybody else and what they're doing, it's going to work for them, not you. So the best thing is to experiment, see what works, keep a track of what you're doing. Ask your audience what they like and what they're interacting with. And just remember, you just need to keep tweaking it all the time. And remember that social media, especially Facebook, is a conversation. They want you to be social. That's why it's called social media. So real sells, and for those of you who know me, this is one of my biggest things I'll say over and over and over. You've got to be real. It's got to be your stuff. If you're just regurgitating whatever your company has said, or that whatever you're picking up from stock photos, that sort of thing, you'll find it really difficult to get any traction, because it needs to be real. People want to know about you. So they want to know what's behind the real person. They also want you to be authentic. So if you're a very vibrant, great, exciting person, then that needs to come across. If you're not, then don't try to be that person. You need to be you, and you need to be authentic. And real photos and real videos of your products will always do so much better than the manufacturer's products and those stock ones that you can get all the time. And people want to know about you. They want to know the personality about you. So I don't like being in front of camera particularly, but it does so much better. As you can see on this one, it was kind of it was showing me but not showing me. And it was in January, so it was nice and sunny and beautiful. And it did exceptionally well. And as you can see, I haven't really put very much there. I've just basically added my personality to it. And then this was another one. And it was just one of those days where it was hot and I was in between clients and I was rushing around. And I thought, no, I'm going to just sit down and have lunch. And it was just beautiful. So I took a photo, and once again, it did exceptionally well because people want to know about you. They want to know about the person behind the brand. So if you think about years ago when you would go to the corner shop, you would actually talk to the store owner and they would know who you were and how it went. I can remember being a child and I would go and stay with my grandparents in Melbourne, and my grandmother would take me down to the butcher's shop. And it was back in the day where they still had sawdust on the floor. And we would walk in and the butcher would call her by name. And then he would say to her, "Oh, I've just got some steak in. I know your husband really likes steak. Would you like me to cut it nice and thick for you?" And he knew all about my grandmother. And of course, she felt special. And yeah, definitely, she would buy that steak. And that's what people want to have these days too. So we don't do it in person like we did, or not nearly as much, but we can do it with things like this. And that makes the difference between you and everybody else that's selling a similar product to you. Okay, so you need to think about what kind of content you're going to be doing. And as much as we don't like it, video actually works. And it is for that exact reason that people can get to know you. They can hear your voice, they can see you, and they can go, "Yeah, I like that Cathy girl. She resonates with me." "Oh, no, I don't like her. I'm not going to go anywhere near her." And it's very quick to either get people to come to you or get people to run away. And don't be afraid of people running away. That's actually a good thing because they're never going to buy from you. Or if they do, they're going to be those problem clients. So just make sure that you are one way or the other and attracting people to you, or, like I say, getting them to run away. And then there's other ways you can do it too. We'll talk more about stories in a minute too. People may not know what they are. But basically, if you've got a website, sending stuff back to your website is really good because you don't control Facebook. You don't control where the information's going or the way it's going. So if you can send them back to your website as a home, then that's when they can find out more about you. And Facebook's very difficult to search as well. So anything that you want to have a bit of longevity, it really needs to go back to a website. What shouldn't you do? Well, we won't dwell too much on this, but there's a few things there you can see. We don't like icky. We don't like overly sales or spammy. And you'll find if you do these sorts of things and you get reported, or if Facebook thinks you're doing the wrong thing, you will get your reach cut down very quickly. Okay, so the feed is basically designed to give you the best viewing idea. So what they will do is Facebook will actually customize their feed to what you've been looking at. So that's why sometimes people will say, "Oh, I see lots of this," or "I don't see lots of that." So if you're not interacting with content, then you won't get shown it again. And it's the same with your audience. So you really do need to make sure that they're getting things that evoke emotion. So whether it be a good emotion or a bad emotion, depending on what you're doing, it just needs to get some sort of response. And therefore, they're likely to react to it and comment and interact with it. So obviously, you want to get the best, but sometimes a little tearjerker doesn't hurt depending on your audience and what you're trying to achieve. You also need to make sure that your audience understands what you're doing. So tell your audience that you understand them as well, so that you are talking to that one person. We've all seen those ads pop up and you think, "Oh, gee, they're in my head. They must know who I am." And that's because they've got the messaging correct for you. And at the end of the day, we're all on there looking for some sort of entertainment or to have our problems solved. So basically, any kind of transaction, especially selling transactions, you need to solve a problem. So offer to solve their problem. So when I was saying about evoke emotion, look at this. Doesn't that look fantastic? Now, these are little cupcakes from a local business here in Bunbury in the south of WA, and they are just incredible. They just look so inviting. In fact, they look so inviting that you don't actually want to eat them because they're so beautifully made. They've always got a splash of colour no matter what the season is, but it actually looks great. And these are the type of photos that this particular cafe owner uses, and it really does make a difference. So create shareable content. So when you're thinking about things going viral, it's because other people have shared them. So if they're too overly branded or very specific to you, then they're not likely to get shared unless they are that kind of personal content where people want to comment, and that will also help to get it shared. So, will someone who doesn't know you personally care about your post? So, like I said, except for the personal content, you just need to think about that. And you need to engage with your audience and make sure that if you are getting comments or messages, that you are replying to them. Even if it's just something like a smiley face or a thumbs up, if it doesn't need a whole lot of commenting, you just need to make sure that that's important. And if it's been a public comment and you've replied to them by a DM, a direct message, just make sure you actually put on the comment on the public versus one to say, we have spoken by DM or I have DM'd you, just so that other people know that you have commented and that you have actually spoken to the person. And it also tells Facebook too, because if you've got a whole stack of unanswered comments or messages, that can also help to have your reach knocked down, which of course is not what we want. Okay, so if you can't take photos of your business, you can use stock photos at a pinch, and here's a few sites. But if you're doing that, go a couple of pages in. So if you've done a search on maybe flowers, don't use the flowers that are on the first and second page, and try to be a bit more specific with your search as well. So instead of just using flowers, go pink roses or something like that, and then move a bit further in. But as I've said before, it's far better to have real ones, and real will do far better. But stock photos are better than no photos. And especially if you're using something like Canva, which is a free app, so canva.com, you can then actually put your own text on, change the colours, modify them a bit, and quite easily. Don't panic, it's actually easy. And that will make them a little bit different, which will then add in your personality and make them look a bit more real. Okay, so Facebook and videos. Mark Zuckerberg really wants you to use video, and he's trying to overtake YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google, so YouTube is Facebook's biggest competition in the video space. So they're really, really pushing videos. Now, there's a few ways you can do videos. Obviously, face to camera is best, but if that's not your thing and it's really going to stop you doing it, you can do a collection of photos, and there's a lot of apps now that you can do it when we talk about stories in a minute, and they are videos. Stories are videos. So that can be an easier way to get around it. You can also do voiceovers. So if you're not happy with your face on camera, then try using your voice. And you do get used to it. I can tell you, I started doing a podcast 3 years ago now. And when I first did it, I didn't like my voice at all. Now I can do it. So now it's getting a lot more into me doing lives and that sort of thing. But it really, really does make a difference. And if you're not talking to your tribe, you can bet your competition is. So you really do, unfortunately, in this day and age, have to put yourself out there. Okay, so 79% of marketers are already using video. So if you don't want to get left behind and you want to make a cut through, you do need to use video of some sort. And here's some ways that video works. So it's engaging. It boosts your organic reach. It creates the conversation. It performs that top of funnel content. So the things that you want to get them to click on. And it also works really, really well with paid advertising. We're not going to go into that today, but video does work really well there as well. So make sure that you are posting your video natively onto Facebook, not through a third-party app. So that means you actually have to put it up in, when you do your post, is include your video there. Don't use a link particularly to YouTube. Like I said, YouTube is their biggest competition, so they will not share your YouTube videos very far, if at all. So native video gets 10 times higher reach than any other video that you put up. So just make sure that you are actually doing it as a post and then uploading your video that way. And video is most important for paid, most affordable for paid ads, like I just said. Okay, so stories. Stories are little videos. Now, they only last 24 hours, so you'd think, why bother? It's because people interact with them. And it's also because they're relatively new. So Facebook are sharing stories out a lot further than they are just your feed stuff. So it does generally get a lot more visibility than things that are on your feed. You can also put your stories onto your wall. So just remember, if you're doing a story and you're doing it through something like your Instagram app, which is a really easy way to do it, to save it back to your phone. There's lots of different apps that you can use. You can actually also do it through Facebook itself. If you go through your creator suite, and that's, you do need to have a business page to do that. But any basically little video that you make is perfect for stories. Now, depending on how long you've had your business page, where you're located in the world, that sort of thing, stories can be 15 to 30 seconds. Now, they are saying that they're going to be going longer, but that 15, 30-second mark is a really good thing, because we're all busy. We just want quick. So really do look at doing stories. Okay, so people buy from brands, but they also buy from people. So the stories then can make it more interactive, and people will then buy from you. And you think, well, how can a story make them go to my website? Well, you can have call to actions, but it's all about that know, like, and trust. So now they've heard you, they've seen something a bit funny. So now they want to go back to your website. And if it has been something that was a product or something like that, they might want to know more. So the thing with your products, and especially on stories, is don't tell them what it is. Just show them the glam and the excitement, and then they need to click to go back to your Facebook wall or your website, which is even better, so that they can get more information. And stop selling, add value. So we've all been on the different walls and had our feeds full of people just going, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And it's boring. So you really do need to make sure you're adding value. So showing them how to do things, making sure that you are giving them value. So we've got Emma on the call, and she has the most fantastic, beautiful makeup, and she does it in the most incredible ways. So she can get on and do a little live on how to apply the lipstick or how to apply that stage makeup that she's using. So she's not actually selling anything there. She's just showing people how to use it. So that is adding value. So if you're always doing selling, people are not going to like it. So the value is what will make them interact. But you do need to give them the option to buy. So there's quite a big difference between selling and being able to buy. So if you're just saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, that is different from giving them the option to allowing them to buy. So just make sure that you are adding value, but you are occasionally letting them know that you have things to buy. I mean, it's the old McDonald's, isn't it? Do you want fries with that? Most people wouldn't ask for fries, but if they are asked, then that gives them the option to buy, and they will quite often do so. So just make sure that you do have a good mix of value, but don't go the opposite way where you've only got value and then people don't know you've got anything for them to buy either. So there's great debate about hashtags. Do they work? Should we be using them on Facebook? So every couple of years, Facebook says, we're bringing them back. We're going to have them again. Now, apparently this time it's really going to happen, but only use 3 or 5. So if you are doing it on Instagram and sharing it across to Facebook, make sure that you then put your hashtags in your comment, not in your caption, because on Instagram you put a lot more than you do on Facebook. So if you just share it straight across with that big block of hashtags on the bottom, 1, it looks ugly, and 2, people are not going to be happy about that. And then Facebook will actually knock your algorithm down and not share it. So just use roughly 3, 5 probably absolute max, and use them as a highlight. So something like support small business, you could have that within your text, and it gives it a bit of a highlight, because of course with Facebook you can't do bold. You can do capitals, but just be very, very careful, because all capitals is shouting on any digital platform. So it's better just to have a couple of little highlights to show the important points. Okay, so they're still testing them. They're saying they're going to come back, but we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens there. Okay, groups. Groups are definitely amazing at the moment. So what Facebook's doing with groups is it's giving you a lot more reach. And the best thing about groups is that people don't have to have had any interaction with you before at all. Some of you actually may be on this call because you saw it in a group. So you may not have seen me before, you may not have heard anything about anything that I've been talking about, but because you saw it within a Facebook group, you were then able to click on the link and go from there. So Facebook groups are fantastic. There is 400 million people using Facebook groups currently. So that's an awful lot of people, but don't be spammy, okay? So you can have your own group too, which is great, because then you can control the messaging, and that's another way to get out to people, because like I say, they don't have to have seen you before. They are pushing to have most groups public now. So just be thinking, if it's not something that you can walk down to the local shopping centre, scream at the top of your voice and have your grandma hear and be happy, then don't put it on Facebook. And deleted is not deleted. So keep your dirty laundry off Facebook, and just make sure that you are putting things that are appropriate and that you're happy for everybody to hear. Okay, so good things about groups are they're long-term, consistent engagement. They are a little bit easier to search through depending on how many posts and how many people you've got. Once they get to be big groups, they're more difficult. So once again, keep sending them back to our website. It improves your organic reach. So if you've got a post on your business page and you're sharing it into 2 or 3 groups, then you will get far better reach in that. And you will also get far better traction because people can see it. Strengthens connections. So it helps to bring in that local knowledge, that trust factor. And you can find people that are interested in you that may not have seen you anywhere else. So share and receive information. So sometimes it's a great place for you to get information as well. So groups are definitely a big thing in 2021. Okay, so like I said before, people are saying that organic reach is dead. Well, as you can see here, this went viral. So this page only had 700 likes on it at the time, but it went to nearly 24 people. And the reason it did that was because of the shares. Now, some of those were just shares from private people and others were shares into groups. it also had a lot of engagement. So the things that Facebook look at to whether they're going to share, whether they're going to push things out to a larger audience, is your comments, your shares, and your engagement. So if you can get all of those happening, you can get a viral like this. It worked really well for this business. Would it happen again? Well, depends on all those circumstances. So yes, it may, but not all the time. And for people to get things to happen viral all the time, it takes an awful lot of work, and it really is left to the Facebook gods. But it certainly can happen. And this was a local business in Bunbury. So it definitely can happen down here in the southwest. And it can happen all over the world, no matter where you are. Okay, so when you're doing your sharing into groups, you will share from your private profile. Most groups won't allow you to share as a business. So try to actually join as a business first. And then if you're not able to share, then go to your private profile. So like I said, just make sure your private profile is suitable for that. And if it's not, either clean it up or look at getting a second one. You will need a different email address to do that, and you will need to make sure that you tick off all of Facebook's boxes. So you need to do all your privacy stuff and that sort of thing. And make sure you're not that person that is going into 15, 20 groups and it's all the same content, because the people that are following you, who are liking you, will get annoyed with that very quickly. So if you are doing quite a few in a day, make sure you space them out and don't do them all in one block. And please, please don't be spammy, because nobody likes spam. Okay, so as of today, the page likes are going. So they're going to be called follows, and we're going to have followers instead. So just be aware of that. If you've been trying to get people to like your page in the last couple of weeks, you will notice that that has gone as well. So just remember to ask your friends, family, clients, anybody that you know or anybody that you're networking with to make sure that they are following your page. Okay, done is better than perfect. So with any of these things, you just need to get on and have a go. Get some stuff out, have a look at it, see what's working, see what's not. But definitely done is better than perfect. And you need to be providing solutions to your audience's problems. So if you're just doing nice fluffy stuff, you beautiful cats and all of that sort of thing, you're not going to get any traction. So you need to be actually thinking about the things that your audience is thinking about. What keeps them up at night? What are their problems? And answering those. Make sure you do share into groups, because that's a really easy win. And posting at the right time. So by using a business page, you can go in behind that and have a look at your analytics and see when people are interacting with your stuff. You can't do that on your private profiles. So that's the best reason to have a business page, is you do get so much more information and you can see basically who's looking. So the demographics, male to females, I think they've got other now as well. So it gives you an idea of who's actually looking. And then age range, location, all of those kinds of things. And ask your customers, ask them what they want, ask them what they'd like to interact with. Ask some questions. Polls can work really well. Sometimes they don't. So you just need to try. But just put different things in your feed and basically ask. So use Facebook as part of your marketing strategy, not as your whole marketing strategy. There's been lots of businesses, particularly at the beginning of the year, late last year, that got shut down for doing the wrong thing on Facebook. Now, there is no recourse. If you've done the wrong thing, your page will disappear. And if you've built your whole entire business on Facebook, you may or could, and people have done, lose their business overnight. So just be careful and make sure that you are following their rules. So like I say, make it part of your strategy, not only your strategy. Okay, so we've got some new features coming up in Facebook. There's a whole stack of stuff coming. Some they've released and some still on the way. But what they've released today is that they're going to have a thing called Bulletin. And this is where we're going to have people that can create. At the moment, it's invitation only, but it's going to be for articles and podcasts and videos, that sort of thing. So watch the space on that. That's definitely coming. So speaking of podcasts, like I said, I started one a few years ago. So if you like this kind of content, go to smallbusinesstalk.com.au, and every week I have a thought leader piece where I speak or I bring in a guest who I think you'll find interesting. So yeah, check that out as well. All right, and if you need any help with your marketing, that's what we're here for. So we do digital marketing, we do web design and development, SEO, which is getting your website found, and social media marketing. And like I say, your marketing should make you money. So if yours is not making you money, you need to check it out because you've probably got a few things that you need to shift. And that is me. So what I will do is I will stop sharing so we can all come back together and open up for Q&A. So if we've got any questions.
Thanks a lot, Cathy.
You are welcome, Ruth.
I took 3 pages of notes.
Oh, wow. So what was your biggest takeaway?
I am not doing videos. I've been in business nearly 5 years.
Yep.
And loving it, home business. But I'm shy of the camera. I don't do videos, and you've just hit home that I really need to, even if I video what I'm doing, which is clothing and mending and alterations, and do a voiceover rather than video myself.
Yep. So with yours, Ruth, you've got the perfect opportunity there because you could do a before and after. So
I do lots of them.
Yeah. So you've got your garment that's come in, and then the pants are too long. If you've got a willing model, you could get them to try it on first. Then you could actually take a video of like their legs where the pants is too long, and then one at the end when it's all mended and fixed up. So there's lots of ways you could do video without actually having your face on it. So think about that.
With that description, I see that as before and after photos.
You could do that as video as well. You could just do a short video. You can also make those photos into video. So if you have a couple of them, so you've got your before, maybe a middle one and an after one, or if you've got 2 of the before and 2 of the after, then put those together, and that will make a little video as well.
Yeah. Thanks. I do have one question for you.
Sure.
Well, actually, I've got 2, but I'll make them quick. I don't use my personal Facebook page very much, but my business page, I'm able to share into groups all the time.
Yep.
I've got about 6 groups I very often share into, my posts into. So do I not need to pursue, continue with my personal Facebook page because I'd rather not?
It depends on the groups. So if you've been allowed in as a business, that's great.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
If you want to extend into other groups, you'll find that quite a few of those other ones, and particularly now if you're not already in them, they won't let you in as a business. So you will use your personal one. You still need your personal one even if you're not using it, because that's actually how you access your business page to get in the back of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you do actually need to maintain your personal one.
Yeah, it's maintained, but I don't post anything.
Well, that's okay.
And the other very quick question is, I'm not getting any notifications when anybody asks a question or comments on my business page on my phone, even though all my settings are set that way.
Have you recently updated your phone?
No.
Do that.
No.
Yeah.
Do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Just make
Okay.
sure that you are from time to time shutting your phone down, and make sure that you are doing those updates as they come through, because
Yeah.
they are actually fixing things. So they may only seem to be minor, but it's
Yeah.
probably just got caught up.
So on that sweet logo, you know, the circle with the arrow in it, the sweet logo, I physically have to click on that to see notifications.
Yeah,
I would.
I would try shutting your phone down and then restarting and then updating.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
How did you find that, Jane?
Great. I've got a lot to learn about using Facebook, though.
Yes, and that's only a very small snippet. So, yeah, but yeah, just start, try. Like I say, delete is not delete. So if you don't want to put it up there in the first place, don't. But yeah, if you do make a mistake, delete it, start again. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thanks. Yep, go Emma.
You know, you're talking about stories. So like I should be doing stories, but I never do, and I need to do more. But you know, you're talking about the hashtags, about how Facebook are thinking about bringing up hashtags. Should we be using hashtags in our stories?
No.
Don't bother.
No.
But what about tagging people? Like if you like, say I'm showing a new pair of tights I've purchased.
Yep.
Is it a good idea for me to tag the company, like to get more exposure, like on a story?
Try it. Just see how you go. Most of this sort of stuff you will need to experiment. If it works well, keep doing it. If it doesn't, don't worry with it.
Okay.
It does change from time to time, and for some things it works and others it doesn't. So yeah, just experiment.
Because it works for me on Instagram when I do it, and I know that Instagram and Facebook are own, you know, they're all part of the same thing. So I'm assuming that it's going to be like the same. Yeah,
they do work very differently though. Even though they are owned by the same people, their algorithms and the way they have people interacting is different. So yeah, you're just going to need to experiment.
Trial and error.
Yeah, afraid so.
I think it's all trial and error though, isn't it?
It is, and it keeps changing. So what we did 6 months ago is not necessarily working now, and some of the things we tried 6 months ago and didn't work are working now. So you do need to just keep trying, and it's very specific on what you're doing too. So for you can put on that beautiful makeup and all your stage stuff, whereas if I did that, people are just going to laugh at me and go, well, you're not serious. So it is very specific to your audience.
And I think it's important, like what I'm just finding out now is that I can research as much as I like and figure out what has worked for other people who do the same thing as me and try and recreate it and hoping for the same results, and I don't get the same results. No. And it's I'm only really just realizing now, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put someone sent me this picture of someone who'd had Botox on their lips, right? And it was horrible. And it was like this new starfish, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh, great, I'll pop that on my business page because I thought, okay, people might find that interesting. Oh my goodness, that is the first and only post I've ever had that's gone viral. And I had so many comments, so many people sharing exactly what you just said, all the comments, all the sharing, that's what got it out there. And I was just like, sorry, hang on a minute. That was just like a quick, it took me 2 seconds. And that was actually not my photo, that was actually someone else's.
Yep.
But even though that was the case, it went viral. And I was just like, sorry, what? Like, I was not expecting, and yet I can spend hours creating a post. Tend not to do that now, but I have done before, and crickets. So I think it's really important, isn't it, to realize that sometimes it's just who knows? Who knows why it happens? Yeah.
And it is good to use those sort of things, especially if they are getting traction with somebody else, is just try them on your page, but make sure that you have uploaded them directly onto your page. Do give the author credit, because we don't want to be stealing other people's work. But if you're sharing for the sake of sharing, it will go back to their page, not your page. So if you are using other people's stuff like that, then do load it up directly onto your page, but make sure that you say, even if you've changed it a bit, inspiration from M's Forever Lips, or thanks to M's Forever Lips for the original post. And then that way you're acknowledging the fact, and that you can then tag. And then I'm sure if I was to do that for your stuff, you'd be more than happy. So you would then come and comment on my page because I've acknowledged you. So yeah, definitely copyright's a big issue. So don't steal people's things, but if you acknowledge them, you can then use it. Okay, how about Rebecca and Samuel? Have you guys got any questions?
We were just chatting the whole way through that, basically about ideas about what we can do.
Fabulous.
So the video thing is a big thing for us, actually. I think you're right about videos being really engaging and that sort of thing, and then showing the authenticity like sort of behind that is really good. So yeah, now Samuel and I just have to get the footage and actually get to it.
Yeah, and don't overproduce it. So for you, for the audience, Rebecca is an accountant with a local accounting firm. So you could just literally have yourself or somebody walking in off the street, because you've got that beautiful entrance area. So
Yes.
you could say, especially on a sunny day, you could do just literally a few second walk in, and then maybe say some of the services you're offering, or when you've got dates, critical dates that people have got to be complying with. So just things like that. So don't overthink it. Just literally hit go. The Facebook Live would be fabulous for that. So you could just basically say, hey, just park the car, the sun's shining, heading on into the office, got some tax returns to do today. Don't forget that if you wanted to pay your super, you needed to have, obviously today's too late for this year, but you could do something like that. You could just say, don't forget you need to have it done by this date, or that sort of thing. So just don't overthink it.
Yes,
just,
so very casual almost.
Yeah, and the casual ones actually work better. The really overproduced ad styles, they're not doing so well at the moment. So yeah, really casual, really authentic. If you jump on my page, Web Design by CATCO, you'll see some of the lives that I've done. And one of them was literally standing under a tree, and it was actually on a driveway, and I had to move because this car came. And that did really well, because it was just real. I was just having a chat about something that I thought about that day. So yeah, anything like that, just keep it really casual, don't overthink it, and just try it.
Yep, we will. Hopefully you'll see something, Cathy, very soon.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
I have one more question, Cathy, if you don't mind, sorry. So I've got a milkshake account, which is the same as Linktree for those of you who are wondering. And I have been using that link on like my business page when I've been putting things on, so people just click on it and see, all the other things. Like, you were saying about how Facebook doesn't like YouTube. Well, now we know why. So they're reducing visibility. Are they doing similar things with things like this, like third-party websites like this?
Yes and no. The whole thing with all social medias is they want to keep you on their platform. Okay, so anytime you're suggesting your audience go off your platform at all, they don't particularly like it. But they do also understand that it's not going to work if you stay 100% on the platform all the time. So things like Linktree and Milkshake, which give you a whole list of places to go, can be really good, but they're also confusing, because when people have only got a short amount of time, they're thinking about, well, where do I go? Do I go to Instagram? Oh, look, the phone's rung. This has happened, that's happened. Now I've forgotten what I was there for. So it's better to send them to one place. And as you know, and I'll keep harping on about it, send them to your website, because then, one, you're building traffic to your website, and two, it's just one place where they can find things distinctly. So you can have multiple pages on your website, of course, so that you can send them to a specific page for a specific offer. And it might just be adding extra value. It might be sending them to a page where there are YouTube videos and there's more videos. Because once, of course, you're off Facebook, then that rule doesn't apply. But be very specific about where you're sending them. So try not to give people too many options.
Cathy, I also have another quick question.
Yeah.
Just a general thing that I've noticed with Facebook, and it's why I actually turned away from it. I find if you scroll through it, you see just constantly the same thing over and over and over again, and you can't actually get new content come through. Why is their algorithm like that? It's literally like you will be scrolling through, and you could scroll through at the start of the day and then go to the end of the day, and it will have the same content like sitting there. You'll just be scrolling through the same thing.
Okay, so some of it is to do with the way that you're actually looking at it. So you're probably looking at those same 10, 15, 20 pieces of content, and then you stop and get annoyed with it. So then you come back and do the same thing. So Facebook's saying, hey, that's what you actually want to look at. The way around that is to start interacting with other pages and do searches. So if you're looking for a specific thing, so you might be looking for where to eat in your local area. So start putting that into the search and click on some of those other pages. Click on your clients' pages as well. And then that will not only help them to get extra reach, but you can see what they're doing and what's working. But it is definitely all about engagement and what you're looking at. So Facebook will, to a certain degree, serve you up what they think you want. And unfortunately, that's not always the case.
No, and I don't find the same trouble with Instagram. I find Instagram is always have new stuff to look at on Instagram. Facebook, like I don't even use anymore because I just can't stand it at all. Yeah. And the ads are like too insane. And I suppose I feel like for me as well, it's a different demographic now. Facebook.
For sure. And the way they serve up the content and the type of content as well. But once again, you're interacting more with your Instagram stuff. So therefore, the Instagram algorithms are giving you a lot more variety. So just have a play with it and just try to do a bit more interaction and do some searching, and that should clean that up as well.
Okay, excellent. That's a good tip. Thank you. And sorry, that's sort of a bit off track.
No, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
All right, Samuel, did you have anything you wanted to chime in on?
Yeah, no, Cathy, great presentation. Took a lot from it. So yeah, so pretty much as Rebecca said, we really want to focus in on those videos, and then obviously I think that's the common point here. You sort of made that more clear in what you had to say. I was a really big fan of toilet videos. I don't know if you've heard of that. I guess concept, but it's like a 1 or 2 minute video. So as people just scrolling on their phone, and it's not a very long video for them to engage with. So that is something that I've sort of want to get going. Yeah. I mean for us because we we're a bigger firm. We have our own marketing team, which kind of goes makes it hard for us to get get the type of content we want out. There's a lot of rules and barriers, and
For sure.
and
Yes,
we're very limited, with what we can do.
It
on
gets
Facebook.
very corporate, and we're
Yes.
trying to move away from that.
Especially since we're in a regional town as well, and so we have a lot of fights with our marketing division, and sometimes we just sort of just do our own
Go
thing
rogue.
and go rogue and sort of seek forgiveness rather than permission. But
sometimes that's easier, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. So that's sort of what we're up against. But that's the plan, sort of to get those short little video clips out there and what we can do with them, and make it really personal, not tax, not accounting stuff, or maybe add a little snippet here and there. But you sort of hit the nail on the head when you said, you got to, people don't really care about the brand as such. It's more about you and what you do personally. So if we can personalize it, I think that'll
absolutely
get much more engagement, and get more reach. So
yeah. And think about shorter videos than 2 minutes too. So think about the way that you actually interact with social media. Unless you've got time, you're not going to sit there and watch a 2-minute video. And Facebook will put a lot more credence to videos that have been watched to the end. So if you've got a 30-second or 15-second video that is watched to the end, that will actually get you a lot more credibility than a 2-minute video where you've had, say, 1.5 minutes watched because they didn't watch the whole lot. So just make sure that you are mixing those up for really short ones to slightly longer ones as well. And then long form, that really needs to go on a different platform. So that is your Instagram, IGTV, or your YouTube. So Facebook's not really the place for long form, except for lives. Lives can obviously be a lot longer than your 2 minutes, and people will interact. And you'll find a lot of time with lives is, unless you've really teed people up to let them know you're coming, they'll actually look at it after it's been recorded. So don't be put off if you've only got 1 or 2 people or no people when you're actually doing a live. So just concentrate on the content rather than how many people are viewing at that particular stage. So
no, that's a good point. I mean, the lives have always scared me because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's live. So
but what's the worst thing that can happen? You delete it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, and just remember, when you are doing your lives, make sure you do actually save them back to your phone as well, because then you can then cut those up and use them as snippets too. So you do get the option after you've done the live to save it back to your phone. So make sure you do that as well. All right, fantastic. We're hitting the top of the hour. So thank you very much for being here. And like I say, I will send out the link to the recording. So have a wonderful day, and I'm glad that you all got value out of this.
Thanks, Cathy. That was awesome.
Thanks, Cathy.
Thanks very much.
All right. Bye for now.
See ya.